Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com doing a quick news recap of all major MMO news announced this week ending August 5th, 2019. This is episode number 211 of the recap, and the first of news this week comes from Square Enix regarding Final Fantasy XIV, which is also why we didn't do a podcast last week, as I was no-lifing the new content. Anyway, Final Fantasy XIV launched its 5.05 patch on Tuesday last week, which introduced the new Savage tier difficulty for the Eden's Gate raids, along with new tomestones as well as the new treasure hunt dungeon Lygia. Besides the new content, there's a bunch of balance changes as well as new items, minions, mounts, cosmetics, and more. I've been plugging the new raids myself, and it's incredible to see how many new people are playing Final Fantasy XIV. Every single one of my groups this last week has had several players who just started playing with this most recent expansion of Shadowbringers. I can't wait to see any indication on subscription numbers in the near future, as I think the game is doing quite well. Next up, World of Warcraft announced patch 8.2.5, which is set to launch later this year, and will introduce new flying bumblebees along with updates to the game's visuals and tweaks to animations for worgans and goblins. More importantly, though, 8.25 will introduce the new party sync system, which will make it easier for party members to play and do quests together. Party sync will allow anyone in the party to be able to do the same quest together regardless of level differences and regardless of whether they actually complete that quest before or not, as the game will automatically reward them again an appropriate amount of XP for their level. Higher and lower level players will also be able to queue up for instances together with better scaling as well. Blizzard also said that they have something special planned for the game's 15th anniversary later in November, but no word on that just yet. 8.2.5 will be hitting PTR soon, but no exact date for that is known just yet. Anyway, moving right along, some unfortunate news from Bandai Namco. Remember that really cool looking PC MMO called Blue Protocol that we talked about last week and the week before? Well, Bandai Namco came out and said that the game isn't coming to the West, quote, at the moment. While we all knew that it wasn't going to be releasing the West anytime soon, hearing from Bandai Namco makes us, at least tells us that they have no plans on bringing it to the West anytime soon, which can obviously change if the game does really well, but it's definitely sad to hear. For now, Blue Protocol has no plans to leave Japan, it looks like, and with no Western expansion plans on the horizon. But again, if it does really well, it's definitely possible. It just kind of sucks that there's no expansion plans. Next up, while Amazon is working on a new Lord of the Rings MMO, the old Lord of the Rings Online isn't dead yet, as Standing Stone Games, the game's developer and publisher, announced the game will be finally getting a new race, the Stout Axe Dwarves, which have an entirely new starting area as well. I personally don't get too excited over new races, as they don't really change too much in the game. I'll take a new class over a new race any day, but it's still nice to see Lord of the Rings Online getting updated after all these years. And speaking of new classes, Standing Stone Games also made a big announcement this week regarding Dungeons & Dragons Online. They announced that they were working on a new class, the Alchemist, along with a new hardcore permadeath server, which will last for 90 days. Anyone who reaches various goals will gain special rewards on their primary server. Also in DDO news, the game's new Tier 4 Project Nemesis raid is officially live, which is one of the new masterminds of Sharn raids, which of course requires ownership of the Sharn expansion. And no word on when that new permadeath server or the new class launches in DDO just yet. Next up, Season 7 for Guild vs. Guild competition and Albion Online officially launched this last week with some pretty big changes with new guild challenges which allow guild members to contribute to their rankings by completing challenges which involve doing content outside of PvP, such as killing monsters, fishing, and even farming, which at first glance sounds odd for a PvP-focused event. You're doing some guild PvP by fishing and farming. There's even a lot of other smaller changes too with the update, and Albion Online continues to chug along. Now, it is free to play, and I recommend giving it a try. If you don't like it, it's definitely one of the more unique and more RPGs out there, and it averages over 3,000 players online on Steam alone, which is definitely not too shabby. Up next, Elder Scrolls Online is launching Update 23 along with the Scalebreaker DLC on August 12th. Update 23 changes are of course free for everyone and include changes to guild traders, crafting, and how undaunted keys work in the game. The Scalebreaker DLC, as the name suggests, needs to be purchased and is included with your monthly subscription if you sub to the game. It includes 2 new dungeons. We did talk about these updates in the past, but we now have a full release date for it, which is on August 12th. Next up, Nexon's publishing contract for the MMORPG Rise of Icarus expired recently, and the game has been handed off to Volov Global, which will continue to run the game. Character data will not be lost, the service will simply be transferred over from Nexon to the new publisher. Nexon users should be familiar with Volov, as the game they do pick up a lot of Nexon's older games, as they currently publish Atlantic Online and Combat Arms, which were both available on Nexon previously. Interestingly, Volov also published a super old game from EG, which I remember playing forever ago, called Luminary, which is called Luminary Rise of the Gunzu back in the EG days, and I'm actually tempted to go download it just to relive some old nostalgia. Up next, Star Trek Online announces its next expansion titled Awakening, which is launching on the PC in September and will be featuring Anthony Rapp, the Doctor character from the Discovery series. The expansion follows the conclusion of the Age of Discovery storyline and will feature new patrols, a new task force operation, new Tier 6 ships, and more. No word on a console launch just yet, but I expect the console version to launch nearly about a month or two after the PC version launches in September. It's currently really the only Star Trek MMO out there, so if you like Star Trek, definitely give this one a try. It's free to play and is made by the same guys who made Neverwinter. And next up, a quick bit of news for Astellia, which finishes its second round of closed beta testing later today. And the game unveiled its cash shop and loyalty systems, which with gems priced at $10 per 100 gems, and premium subscriptions cost 150 gems or $15 and last for 30 days, which grants players 20% bonus XP increases, 20% Excel XP increases, 30% decreased time for dungeon tickets recharges, increased max dungeon tickets, and 15% Descender bonuses. While not exactly pay to win, it's clearly providing some gameplay advantages to people that can pay money, which IMO is a no-go for a game like Astellia, which is actually buy to play. Had the game been free to play, I would have given them a pass on this. But besides the premium subscription, everything else seems to be pretty okay in game in terms of balancing and whatnot. It's not really a huge pay-to-win thing either, but it is definitely a gameplay-altering feature. Up next, a small update for one of the granddaddies of modern-day MMORPGs. Ultima Online released its Forgotten Treasures update, and the Forsaken Foes update is set to launch later in the fall. It's remarkable that the official service for this game is still getting updated, despite launching back in 1997. It's over 22 years old now, which is incredible. It's actually the first MMORPG I've ever played, and I actually go back to every few years to play on private servers and have a lot of fun with it. While I can't recommend the game's live service anymore, I think it's still worth trying if you grew up playing older MMOs like RuneScape or EverQuest, at least on private servers. But yeah, the official service is still running for over 22 years straight, which is just incredible. The next and last bit of news this week comes from 505 Games and the company behind Portal Knights. Apparently, they're a partner of the Chinese game studio called Douyi Network to develop an MMO version of Portal Knights, or at least an MMO set in the Portal Knights universe with sandbox and construction elements like the PC version. Unfortunately, there is no screenshots or videos for the new MMO version of the game in development, which is why you're seeing a video of the current game in the background. No word on release date, but we do know it'll be free to play, and that's really all we know about this one, but there's an MMO version of Portal Knights in the works. Anyway, guys, that is for MMO news this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast, and I will be there for realsies. I did get my addiction out of the way for this week, but I'll see you guys tomorrow.